watching this video.
So welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we get to talk about Ubuntu. So on this channel I talk about Africa, I talk about Zambia mainly, I talk about I share some few vlogs, I share some self-growth videos then yeah, but this is what we talk about, and we have fun over here. We learn and we improve. If you're African, you've definitely heard of Ubuntu, or you use Ubuntu regularly, like in your language. For us, we use it all the time. Like people, we say Abantu, person, we say Muntu, humanity, we say Ubuntu. So that's what we're talking about today, Ubuntu. And I remember this encounter with my teacher in, I think that was grade 8, grade 9, somewhere there, when we were learning computer studies. Yeah, we call it computer studies in like junior secondary school. Yeah, it's called computer studies. And then there was like an operating system called Ubuntu. So like I was kind of shocked. I'm like, Ubuntu in computers. I don't know why as kids, like, you know, anything to do with computers, anything to do with technology, anything to do with like advancements. We're kids, but we subconsciously never used to see ourselves in those places. Like all the good advanced things were never just pictured to have come from us. Even when we were young, kind of, I'm like, wow, we've really been subconsciously fed and gotten to a point where we feel like nothing so big or so good would actually come like from us. And I'm glad, like, as we are advancing, also we're learning, we're kind of relearning some of these things, because I know there are things which in the community, your parents maybe unknowingly, you know, spoke and it just entered our head. So yeah, that's I thought of sharing that. So let's just get into this video. So the term Ubuntu is very important, especially in African communities, specifically Zambia. So in a kind of African Zambian context, Ubuntu is more like a spirit of community, a spirit of interconnectedness in a way, and just a spirit of, like, you know, oneness, empathy, caring. And actually Ubuntu is like a philosophy. When you check it up, Ubuntu is a philosophy which is rooted in the idea that I am because we are. So it doesn't dwell so much on, you know, individual progress, individual being, but Ubuntu is really rooted not in individualism but oneness, togetherness, you know, interconnectedness in a way. So most Zambian homes actually have, like, you know, you grow up in communities, you grow up with you know, neighbors, and yeah, especially for like a bit of like ghetto places. So everyone is just expected to be kind to one another, to push one another, to progress together. And that's something we always remind and should remind ourselves, because sometimes we draw to be, you know, selfish in just wanting what we want for ourselves and just forgetting that we also have a responsibility to some extent to help even the nearest person we are with, or, you know, even the person who's far. If you are touched and you feel like helping that person, that's Ubuntu, that's humanity for others, that's empathy, that's kindness, that's togetherness, everything, mutual respect, all that is Ubuntu. So when you talk about black tax, it's referred to as a financial or emotional obligation individuals feel towards the people who helped them, especially if they were like underprivileged and then they get helped. Now that obligation to kind of pay back and, you know, just do to them as they did to you. So it's like black tax. That's what it's termed. And I think to some other parts of the world it's called brown tax, yeah, and so on and so forth. So this thing is also like associated with Ubuntu. So some people feel like, no, you shouldn't feel a certain of, you know, emotional obligation or financial obligation to actually do this because someone else did this and everything like that. You know, it goes back and forth, and
a lot of things can be said about it.
So for me, what I think, I feel like, especially for countries in Africa, and when I talk about Zambia, this is something which really helps us a lot. As days are just moving, people tend to become selfish. So really bringing up this spirit of Ubuntu, like seeing it still happening, like, you know, in families, is really something to be appreciative about, because
honestly, people are just becoming so selfish nowadays. People these days just think about themselves.
We are becoming selfish. I just had to put myself there because, yeah, sometimes I'm also selfish. Yes. When you look at countries like Zambia, these are like developing countries, and trust me, it's so important to have like supportive relatives, to have supportive, you know, community, to have supportive neighbors, people who, even if it's not their responsibility, make it their responsibility for your sake. Okay, picture this in this way. This is a village, and these people in the village want to, you know, to make it out, to do something better for themselves. So they actually capture one person. This person shows potential of, you know, learning, potential of maybe being business minded and everything like that. So they actually invest in that person, hoping that, okay, if that person goes out there, they, you know, make it, they capture this and this, there would, you know, there would be a bridge for others. You get it, right? There'll be a bridge for others. So after that person makes it, it kind of opens the bridge for the rest of them. So from there, others are now going to, you know, go through, they're going to make it much, it's going to be much easier for them compared to the first person they took out in the village. It's going to be much easier. So if that continues, it's going to reach a point where actually all of them are capable, all of them are able to fund for themselves. So I feel like as a country, as a continent, for a lot of countries, that's the point where we are at. A lot of these things, a lot of people, I'm sure they can look back and say, if I wasn't helped, if I wasn't supported by this person, I probably wouldn't have, you know, achieved this and this. I probably wouldn't have gotten this and this. So for me, I feel like the black tax thing, it's just a matter of at what point the country is at. Yes, it's going to reach a point where people are kind of like able, but they should still have the Ubuntu. So it's kind of, you just have to strike a balance between the two. I hope you guys have gotten it, and I just want to see your comments down, what you think about it. But for me, that's really my stance. I'm not really for you shouldn't feel obligated and everything like that. For me, I feel like it should just be a natural thing. We should come as a person because you are also helped. I get it sometimes. You have like maybe people, I've heard stories from other people where they feel like, okay, they have like those other relatives who are like so demanding and everything like that, whatever. So I think you just have to draw like maybe boundaries, and you just have to be honest with what you can give and what you can't give, with what you have, with what you earn, and it would really help. But a thing of not feeling obligated at all, I don't think it's a cool thing, and I don't think it stands for us as Zambians and as Africans when it comes to the concept of Ubuntu, which is rooted so much in our culture, because we are there for each other. At the end of the day, it still doesn't feel like fulfillment if you're doing okay and the person next to you is not doing good. You get it, right? So you just feel naturally obliged to, not as an emotional blackmail, but it should just come as a natural thing. Unless you just feel you're being exploited, then you just have to be honest and state the boundaries and state where you can and where you can't. So yeah, that's what I think. So we have also several ways and several things which help foster this Ubuntu, and it just helps conserve it in a way. In most Zambian homes, we prioritize extended families and community ties. Yeah, so those are so important. My friends are always like, hey, how many mothers do you have? Like how many fathers do you have? So for us, like culturally, my father's brother should be my dad. You get it, right? But my father's sister is my aunt. Like that's like paternal aunt. And then from my mom's side, my mom's sister, who's in some places would be called maternal aunt, should be my mom. And my mom's brother is my maternal uncle. You get it, right? So that's how it is. So extended family ties are like so strong. They are so strong. So for me, I've grown up in a lot of like homes from my father's family. I can't even say I've been brought up by like one mom, like one dad. I'm just like a product of a lot of people. Extended family systems are very, very important. People know their uncle, their whatever. You kind of like, you still keep hold of each other. Yeah, not everyone would be in good terms and everything like that, but for most homes, extended family system is a thing. Some people actually meet together. They have like, a come together thingy to just get to reconnect, to just get to know each other, to introduce their children to each other so that they don't get married in the future because they didn't know that they were related. The other important thing which comes with Ubuntu is also like respect for elders. So it's a big thing like for us. You always have to show respect to your elders. Sometimes even they are wrong. Yeah, but as a wise person and as a wise child, you always have to find a good way to approach them because they are elders. For us, that's how we take it. Like, it's not always like they are right. You get it right. We understand like they have like more experience than us, and they've obviously seen more things than we have seen. So for that, we just feel like, okay, they are entitled of some respect to a certain level. But in a situation where you feel they are like not right, we are mostly advised to talk to like an elderly person who can talk to them. But then I think you can also, mostly that's how it goes. But as a wise person, obviously you would maybe try to like talk to them in a respectful way, because for us like elders, you just feel like by default they've earned the respect to some point. You get it right. Ubuntu encourages coexistence. So a country like Zambia has more than 70 tribes, and for people with different tribes to actually live in harmony, you need to find a way of coexisting in your differences. And there's something we have like in our tribes. It's called cousinship. So for instance, the Bemba people of the northern province and the Ngoni people of eastern province have like this cousinship. So this cousinship came about due to some conflicts they were having like in the past. There was some conflict between the two tribes, and then when the conflict was resolved, they decided to be cousins. So they kind of joke about each other. They would mock each other jokingly, and it just goes on like that. So cousinship is like another way of maintaining coexistence between different tribes, where you get to joke about your funny ways of doing things, or your funny looks, or your funny language, whatever you feel like joking about. That cousinship kind of creates an atmosphere where you can joke without the other person feeling offended or feeling attacked, because they're just going to take it as a joke, because cousins joke, like in a way we call it cousinship. And also the other thing with Ubuntu is it looks at success not as an individual thing, but it's a collective thing. As I said in my intro, it's a collective thing where if one person is pushed to make it, to everyone else it's the success of everyone. I think there's a certain saying which kind of highlights that, like, you know, when you educate one person, it's like you've educated the whole community, because they are also going to look back and look at the people who helped them and then try to help them as well. So that's like the Ubuntu. So thank you guys, this has been it. I hope you guys learned something about Ubuntu. I hope it's something which you're going to look deeply into. And if you find this video 5 years from now, 10 years from now, just know that I did this video so that you can later see it and later know what we are about as a country, as a continent. And I hope you also stand by those values and those principles that you know.
I am because we are.
Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, to share, to comment, to send to your friends, to your whoever you want to send to, who you feel has to hear this and would learn something from this video. So see you guys in the next video. Bye.